Well, it's still very, very early in the season, but this was a very, very important big victory for Arsenal. 3-1 against Manchester United when all seemed like it was going to be a point apiece for Arteta and Eric Ten Hag. But the Gunners get those 3 points. A really exciting game, a fun game, of course, between the Gunners and the Red Devils. Luis Miguel Echegaray will have Mark Ogden Oggy joining us later on. Maybe James Ollie. He's at the Emirates, but could be a bit loud right now. But right now we have Stevie Nicol. Stevie, straight away, your initial reaction. It looked like it was going to be a draw, a point apiece, but in the end, Arsenal come away with 3 points.
It kind of seems that the only thing to talk about is the last, 10 to 15 minutes, because what happened before that seems to kind of pale into insignificance. I mean, Man United, to me, looking as though they were going to get a 1-1 draw. Defensively, they did well. Arsenal, always the team that were pushing forward. Scored one, probably should have had a couple more. Saka should have scored. Havertz should have scored in the first half. And it seemed as though it was going to sort of die a death at 1-1. And then all of a sudden, Garnacho goes through. Seems to have won the game for United. He's offside by the smallest margin, but nevertheless, he's offside. And then, of course, Arsenal end up getting 2 late goals and win 3-1. So on paper, it looks like a comfortable win, but I mean, what an ending. This was just crazy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, my friend. I think it was really the last 15 minutes of the game that really told the eventual story. But there was a lot going on in this game, as you mentioned at the beginning. So let's just walk through some of the biggest talking points. Arsenal looked very good at the beginning, but against the run of play, Manchester United opened the scoring. Marcus Rashford 1-0. 110 seconds later, Arsenal equalized. It was 1-1. Let's talk about the first big talking point, which was that penalty that didn't happen. Kai Havertz got the ball, drove into the box. It looked like Aaron Wan-Bissaka had fouled him, but then VAR comes in, the ref comes in, goes and looks at the screen. It has to be clear and obvious. What did you think? Because it was overturned and not a penalty.
Well, I'd love to know why it was overturned. From a defensive point of view, when Wan-Bissaka tries to make a challenge on Havertz and misses, and then he gets his legs tangled up with Havertz, because Havertz, in my opinion, is just running through, and Wan-Bissaka's right leg, I believe it was, ends up making contact with Havertz. And so for me, it's a penalty kick. And so again, as a defender, in my opinion, it's up to me to get out the road of the attacker, particularly when I'm on the wrong side and he's gone past me. So I'd be interested to know why it was disallowed. Does the referee just think that Havertz lost his balance? Because if he sees contact, or if he doesn't give the penalty, he must be thinking Havertz has dived. So I'd love to know which one it is. Has he dived? In that case, he should have had a yellow, or has he just fallen over? And I'm going to guess that Taylor's going to say he lost his balance and there was nothing else, and that's why he didn't give a penalty kick. Has to be. It can be the only solution.
Yeah, that was my biggest quandary then. When it was overturned and it wasn't a penalty, why didn't Kai Havertz see a yellow? Because supposedly you're thinking that means that he simulated something. And then to the other point as well was, I think that sometimes, Stevie, when the ref looks at the VAR and you look at things over and over again in slow motion, I think it tells a different story to what actually happened. And to your point, if Wan-Bissaka had not been there, Kai Havertz probably wouldn't have fallen there because it would have been like a clear path for a goal. But because he was there, he impeded his run, meaning, Stevie, that it should have been a penalty, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I'm trying to figure out why it's not a penalty, as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's a penalty kick. But it wasn't given. And again, we'll be interested to know what they actually come out and give us a reason, hopefully, which I doubt they will, as to why it wasn't given.
Yeah, hopefully we will hear that. And obviously we have our very own Dale Johnson on ESPN as well, who surely will note about it on ESPN.com. But anyway, it was 1-1 to that point. The game went back and forth a little bit. Manchester United seemed to get a better grip, of course. And then it was like the Leicester City of old towards the end, Stevie Nicol. Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans were playing centre back for Manchester United. That was an interesting one as well. And then 1-1, Manchester United seem to get a break on the counter. Garnacho gets off and scores, but again, it's overturned to offside. Correct call there?
Yeah, I think so. Which is a shame for Garnacho because he took it like a veteran. Made his run through, the ball's played through. It looked as though he had timed it to perfection, and great composure from the young man. Picked his spot and rolled it past Ramsdale, and all of a sudden you're thinking this is an absolute smash and grab because I think United came for a point. They didn't come to go and win this game. They came to be tight and then try and hit on the break. And so for that reason, you got to say that Arsenal probably deserved the win. But I'll tell you what, when that ball hit the back of the net, I don't think anybody, whether it be the crowd, the coaching staff, or Arsenal as a team, were thinking this was anything other than a 2-1 loss. But VAR came to the rescue. They got it right. He was a hair's breadth offside, but nonetheless, he's offside. And of course, that meant the scoreline went back to 1-1, which again made us think this is going to end up being a draw.
That's what we thought. And then in stoppage time, Arsenal earn a corner, and Declan Rice, unmarked, by the way, an open Declan Rice from the far post, his first goal for Arsenal after making that massive signing from West Ham, makes it 2-1, and pandemonium at the Emirates as they go 2-1. A pretty good finish. There was a little bit of a deflection, Stevie. I mean, Onana really couldn't be blamed for that one, but he was pretty open in that corner.
Well, yeah, I mean the ball's come all the way across, and so if that's the case defensively, you've got to move with the ball. So I think Johnny Evans was the closest to it, but he was having a bit of a tussle with Gabriel, so he couldn't get there. Nobody else made an attempt to get out, and unfortunately for Johnny Evans, it's come off the underside of his foot, which is why it's made it difficult for Onana. You're absolutely spot on. You can't point your finger at Onana. It's just a shot that's been ricocheted and he couldn't quite react in time. So it's an awful start for Johnny Evans. Imagine running on the field after leaving United, 8 years previously, and you end up scoring an own goal. What an absolute disaster for him personally.
Yeah, absolutely right. But anyway, Arsenal with a 2-1 lead, and then Manchester United, of course, keep on pushing, and in the end, come away with a 3-1 victory thanks to Gabriel Jesus' break. A really lovely finish, of course, making it 3-1. Arsenal, 3 points. Very, very big win.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.